You see my shirt? It's now full-blown summer mode here in famously hot Columbia, South Carolina, so I figured I'd wear the old Hawaiian shirt to maybe make me feel a little less miserable. You heard me right, famously hot. That was actually, it used to be our motto. They changed it. They changed the city's motto to a capital place to be. You know, because we're the capital of South Carolina. A capital place to be. Terrible. Hey everybody, your friendly GM Bobby here with another episode of Ask Bobby, where I get to answer your questions that you ask me, and I'm excited because we reached our Patreon milestone. It was just about a month ago today that I asked all you guys to help me push off a drive to get to the next Patreon milestone, which was to be able to launch an actual play, a Shadowrun actual play. And we did it! We got there so quickly. You guys are so incredible. We did it in under a month. In fact, we've surpassed the goal. Now, as you may remember, one of the ways that I'm getting you listeners involved in this actual play is by helping me do the world building. If you become a patron at either the $2 or the $5 levels, you can contribute NPCs or organizations or locations into the world. That doesn't stop just because we reached the goal. If you still want to get in on the action, all you have to do is sign up to be a patron. There's details on the Patreon page, patreon.com/complexaction. All you have to do is sign up and be signed up when the actual play goes live, and that is set to go live in about the middle of August. Go ahead, jump in there, help us build the world. It will be really exciting to see our players interact with all the stuff that you guys throw into the world. I'm really super excited about it. And in case you're wondering, there are some other things that I have planned for after the actual play launches to keep you guys enticed to continue to be patrons. Now, I'm not ready to give all the details on that yet, but let's just say that it does involve getting to interact with the cast of the actual play, so get excited about it. Now, the podcast feed that the show is going to live on is already out there. The link is in the notes below. Also, you can just search Complex Action on iTunes. It's out there on iTunes or anywhere you get your podcasts from. It's got RSS. Right now, what I've been doing is loading it up with a bunch of world-building episodes, narrated history of Columbia, South Carolina to set up the world, to get you guys familiar with the world. I've also been writing some short stories introducing people to places and NPCs that are going to exist in the world, some of the people that everybody will be interacting with, kind of just building up the story and building up an idea of what to expect in Columbia, South Carolina in the Sixth World. I also just released an episode that's a recording of the first meeting that I had with the players, kind of a campaign planning session, so it's on the podcast as well. We've got a ton of new patrons to announce this month, so let's go on and do it. And I want to say a very heartfelt, very sincere special thank you to the following people who are my patrons. Help me do everything we do here in Complex Action. To Teddy Lattimore, Matt Lemon, Regin Holm Kellison, Redwing, Bahero Mengistu, Joel DePippa, Tom Callahan, Rolf Cromack H, Eric L, Chris Vandergriff, RoboCop's Gone Mad, Robert Smackman, Earl Stone IV, fancy, J-Rex, Underwood, Dominic, Kevin DeKerpel, Robert McPherson, Bishada, Kelly, Michael Ivy, Andy, David Frederick, Matt Papathan, Guy Ballard, Scott Flowers, Paul Yan, and Tony Mullins. Thank you all so much. This is very sincerely a thank you. The actual play that's happening is very literally only happening because of you guys. Thank you so much. First question comes from Patreon patron Mathisius. We love Mathisius. He asks us tons of questions. Asks, which tools, digital or physical, do you use to aid you in running Shadowrun games? I think a lot of people get this question, and I'm probably going to tell you some tools that you're probably already familiar with, but I'll tell you what I use. So I don't get to play face-to-face games with people because of being a stay-at-home dad who's raising an infant and a toddler, so all of my Shadowrun gaming is done online, and historically I use Roll20 for that. I love it because of a couple of reasons, two main ones. I love the built-in forums on Roll20 that allow really easy, just right there in your campaign communication with your players. The other thing is character sheets are amazing. I custom coded my own character sheet for Shadowrun. It was like a tabbed layout and everything. It was amazing. If you looked at the old actual plays that I have posted on the channel here, you'll see me using that character sheet. That's one that I designed myself. I had a Roll20 account that I paid for, and I was able to use it. For voice communication, we would use Skype. I think for the new one, the actual play we're going to be doing here soon, we're going to be using TeamSpeak. Mostly for recording reasons, it's a little bit more convenient for that. I know Roll20 has a built-in Google Hangouts function. For dice rolling, I'd use a new app that I just found on the App Store called Dicenomicon. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of it. It's really cool. It's so many different dice rolling things. The great thing about it is that you can code your own dice rolls. They've got a dice rolling language. So Shadowrun's got a very particular way of rolling six-sided dice, and with the exploding dice and how they're counted and all that. So I coded up how it works, and it's cool. I can just click a button, enter my dice pool, and it rolls it for me and tells me how many whatevers. It's really great. For GMing, I like to take notes using an online note-taking tool called Evernote. If you've used it, you know how great it is. It just makes note-taking easy. I can create notebooks for the different campaigns or the different parts of the campaigns that I'm using. It just makes it easy to organize things. For character generation, I've always used Chummer. I just started getting into Hero Lab, and it looks pretty darn cool so far. I think both Chummer and Hero Lab have really good merits. Chummer is great because it seems to stay up to date faster because it's being updated by the community as the stuff comes out. And Hero Lab is a little bit slower, but the great thing about Hero Lab, if you're a GM, is they've got a lot more powerful GMing type tools that help you create random encounters to throw at your players. It's really cool. I like it a lot. Next question comes from YouTube user Cage of Shadows, who asks, how do you handle when the team fails at a run? That is to say, an extraction of data, object, or person is killed or destroyed, or maybe the team gets tagged by security before they can reach their target at a time-sensitive job, something like that. That's a good question. My answer is you really just gotta go with it. Don't interfere. Don't jump in and try to get your players to succeed where maybe they're not succeeding. I think that players failing at a run is an opportunity, not really a failure. It's an opportunity for interesting stories to be told. It's an opportunity for role-playing to take place. It's an opportunity for fun, memorable experiences. Your players are much more likely to remember the times when they all almost died or even did die, and not the times where everything went perfectly smoothly and nobody had to do anything. Now, having said that, you need to feel out your players while this process is going on. Find out whether they're having a good time or not. If they're having a good time, then like I said, just go with it. Just take cues from them and go with it. Find out, kind of listen to what they are having fun with and give them more of that. You're playing a game together. You should all be having fun, including you and your players. So just make it more fun on the fly. Now, if your players are having a bad time, you need to listen to that as well. And maybe those are the situations when you want to fudge things around a little bit and maybe not do a complete reversal and let them win just because they're whining about it. But, make it so that they're not just hitting their head against the wall over and over again and feeling like nothing they do matters. So make sure that you're having a good time. The last thing to say about this is ask your players if they're enjoying themselves. Just straight up ask them. I think that sometimes we get the feeling that there is this communication divide that sits right on the other side of the GM screen, right? Where you can't reveal your plans to the players, and the players can't tell you how things are going, and everybody is playing a game together. If you want to know how your players are doing, just say, hey, you guys are having a rough time. Is this fun for you? If it's not fun for you, I want to know, because I want to make it fun for you. Just talk to each other. Last question of the day comes from YouTube user Alexander Purcell, who asks, me and my group are new to 5th edition, our DMs only played 4th, and I've got a question about spirits. I can't find anything on armor value. Are they just glass cannons, or do they use another value for armor? This is a really good question, and I'm glad you asked it, because spirits have armor and they don't, all at the same time. So the way it works is this. Basically, spirits don't have armor. You're right about that. They don't have traditional armor, right? So there's no armor value. But what they do have is all spirits, when they're manifested in physical form, have a power called immunity to normal weapons. And that means if you're using some sort of non-magical attack, like a sword or a knife or a bat or a gun, some sort of non-magical attack, then they have natural immunity to it, which provides them with effective hardened armor against that attack. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about how this special armor works, but I have done a video on hardened armor, and remember, it behaves like hardened armor. Check out the GM screen video here. I'm going to, in the future, be doing a video on spirit immunity right here. I just haven't done it yet. It'll be here when I finish it. So check those videos out if you want more details. Just know that, yes, spirits do have a special kind of armor against normal weapons. But if you're using a magical weapon, like a weapon focus, or if you're casting spells at a spirit, they do not have an armor value that protects them. So that's it for our questions today. I hope my answers were useful to you guys. I always enjoy answering them. I hope you guys enjoy listening to them. Before I leave real quick, I want to plug again, if you're going to Gen Con and you want to volunteer to help out Catalyst demo team to run Shadowrun games, they still need help. They have not filled all their floater GM spots as of the last time I spoke to people, so they need some more people on deck to be able to run games for anybody who shows up with generic tickets. They try really, really, really hard to never turn anyone away who wants to play Shadowrun, and they've always been successful so far. So help them keep that dream alive of never turning away anyone. All you gotta do is email Bob Volbrecht at srconvention@gmail.com. There are rewards for volunteering, and you can get some details from him. They include t-shirts or even badges and having your hotel costs somewhat reimbursed. So check it out. So thank you guys for watching, and bye-bye. It's so hot in here. I'm gonna might have to stop drinking warm coffee when I do these things. Nah, who am I kidding? I'm not gonna stop drinking coffee.